Welcome to How Now, the podcast where we talk about how to live in the now. And here's your host, Kim Martin Raymond.
Peace and blessings, and welcome to another edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. I am your host, Kim Martin Raymond. I am a minister, spiritual life coach, author, and founder of Redefining You, LLC, where I help my clients to realign themselves, mind, body, and spirit. I am so glad to be here with you all this evening on a different platform. So I'm here on Facebook Live, and I'm excited to be here with you all. And so if you are here, please make sure that you go into that chat. Let me know that you guys are here. Let me know that you can hear me, that everything is everything. I'm trying to make sure that I can see everybody's comments. So bear with me as I make sure that everybody is here. Like I said, give me a shout out. This is a new platform for me too, so make sure that I can hear you, see you, and all that good stuff. Hey Cassandra, how you doing, love? Welcome. We're going live. Cassandra is a former guest on the show as well, so make sure that you guys go to www.hownowpodcast.com and you're able to listen to some of the former shows if you are new to the How Now podcast. And also make sure that you check out the show on my Facebook. On my YouTube channel. So I have a How Now YouTube channel. I'll make sure that I leave that information in the chat so that you guys are able to find me and check out some of our previous shows. So tonight we're here and we're going to be talking about wellness. We're going to be talking about wellness journeys. And that's something that is not just a physical thing. It's not just for wellness of body, but it's also for wellness of your mind, your body, and your spirit. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the wellness journey that I've been on. Some of you who have been following me on my YouTube channel have gotten to see a few of the clips that I've put on there, because on Labor Day, I decided to start a wellness journey. Mine was a physical one because about 2 years ago, right before the pandemic started, back in 2019, I decided that before my 50th birthday, I wanted to be under 200 pounds. And I had not been under 200 pounds since I was 17 years old. And so I was determined to get on the wellness track so that I can be under 200 pounds before my 50th birthday. And on May 16th, 2020, I achieved that. So I was very excited about the fact that I was able to meet that goal. I was 199 pounds and I was like, I'll take it. There's a 1 in front of it, not a 2. And so I was excited to be able to meet that goal. But as with COVID and everyone else who has suffered through it, I turned the table. I had some changes at work. I had some changes from working at home to working back in my office space. And they closed down the facilities that I was going to exercise. And I kind of spiraled back into poor eating habits. And what wound up happening is I gained 40 pounds back. And so all of the beautiful victories that I had were no longer there. So I was just devastated by the fact that I was no longer in that 199 club, in that 100 pound club anymore. And so I had to re-embark on that journey because I still wanted to be under 200 pounds. I still wanted to be able to be active. I have a beautiful granddaughter who will be 4 this coming Sunday. Shouts out to my grandbaby Quinn. And I want to be able to run with her. I want to be able to do some things with her. And so I needed to get back into a wellness space. And so, before I embark a little more on there, let me stop and take some little sidebars before we keep going. I want to give a shout out to Mike De Niro. That is my wonderful cousin who made the theme song for my podcast. And I also want to give a shout out to Lynn Marie. She is the announcer for the show at the beginning of the show. So I wanted to give her a shout out too. I wanted to make sure I didn't leave them out. I love them to pieces. Peace to you guys. Thank you for all that you've done to help the How Now podcast to advance. And so that, and then also I wanted to say congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. They won the World Series. I am here in the city of Atlanta, and so it's just exciting to see everyone so excited about them winning the World Series. So shout out to the Atlanta Braves. I am not a sports fan at all, but I did want to give them a shout out as well. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. We were talking about wellness. We are talking about wellness of mind, body, and spirit. So like I said, I was going through some changes, and some adjustments, of course, because of the pandemic, and that's the basis for the How Now podcast. We're talking about how to live in this now, in this new space that we're in. And a lot of the creature comforts that I had prior to COVID, were now gone. I didn't have the luxury of being able to go to my exercise classes twice a week. I had some diagnoses that took place. I had some issues with my back. I was diagnosed with spinal stenosis back in September of last year. And, all of the running that I used to do on the treadmill and all the things that I was doing to keep my body fit were no longer feasible for me to do. So I had to start looking at some other things. And what that did is it not only affected my physical wellness, it affected my mental wellness, my psyche, because now, I was struggling in this new space and trying to figure out how to navigate in this COVID space and trying to figure out how I was going to make these adjustments with issues with my back. It became a challenge to try to figure out how to make things work. And so, when I started to embark on this new wellness journey, I said, okay, it has to be something more than just physical. It has to be my mental space as well. And so I started looking into that and saying, okay, what does that look like for me? What does that space of mental wellness look like for me? And then how does that affect me spiritually? So this new wellness journey that I went on had to be about, the full body. It had to be about everything. Hey, Sheree, how you doing, cuz? And so I really had to stop and say, okay, it's got to be more than just the weight. It's got to be other things too, because there are other things that I'm feeding my body as well. Okay? We have our eye gates. We have our ear gates. So there was a lot of information that was coming into my being through my ears, through what I saw, through what I heard, things that were going on with COVID and the things that were going on around me. And I had to really stop and say, okay, what's going on? What's happening? What can I do to try to prepare myself for better and long-lasting results this time? And that's where this journey started. I wanted to get a jump start on my weight because it was starting to affect me. I wasn't sleeping well. My blood sugar, I have diabetes. I have type 2 diabetes, and I've had it for going on 21 years. I think actually this month made 21 years that I've had diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and my numbers were climbing. I was having all kinds of aches and pains, and that became problematic. And it got to a point where, I just was not sleeping well. I just did not feel a sense of wellness. I felt tired. I felt sluggish all the time. And I said, I need to do something, because now it's going to start affecting my performance at work. And those were things that I didn't want to happen. It was affecting, my family life, because I was tired all the time. All I wanted to do was come home and sleep after I got off of work. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to lay around. And that's just not the lifestyle of an active person. And I was upset by the fact that I was so used to being active, so used to exercising and doing things, and now all of a sudden it was like I was living this life of dormancy, and that was hard. It was a hard space to be in. And so I started looking at what are some things that I can do, and I had to start with, like I said, my body. I had an opportunity to go to Haiti this year. I usually go annually and do some mission work. And I made a promise to myself. I said, when I come back from this trip, I'm going to start taking the steps necessary to get back to feeling that sense of wellness, of feeling good again, and not wanting to feel sluggish. So I started a program. And if you want to know more about that program, you're going to have to DM me, and I'll tell you all about it. But I started a wellness program for my weight, and I started that program about 7 weeks ago. I'm going into my 8th week, actually, and I have lost 25 pounds so far, and have lost 3 inches in my waist, and I have lost 3 inches in my hips, and I'm excited about this wellness journey that I'm on. And like I said, if you want to know more about it, you're going to have to DM me, and I'll tell you all about it. But it's been wonderful, a wonderful jump start. I have had to make some adjustments in my lifestyle, mentally as well, because it requires me to eat at certain intervals during the day. And as I'm doing that, I've had to be creative with my meals. I've had to do a lot of planning and making sure that, I'm doing the things necessary to keep my metabolism going. And so it's been a challenge. I'm not going to say that it hasn't. I'm happy with the results, but I also know that it's been a challenge because I travel a lot for work. Actually, I traveled over 3 time zones last week. I had an emergency business trip that I had to make, and then I had a vacation that was scheduled, and they were on opposite sides of the coast. And so, it was difficult because my body didn't know what time it was. My body didn't know whether it was like, am I 4 hours behind? I was in Houston, and then I was in California, and then I was here in Atlanta. So it was crazy. It was crazy because my body didn't know which way to go. And so I had to stop, and I had to think, and I had to plan, and I had to make sure that I had the things necessary, or the foods necessary to eat at the times that I needed to eat them. So it was important that I, plan, and that I plan ahead, and that I, knew what was necessary to do in order to keep the momentum going. So, I'm continuing in this program. I'm excited about the results. And, like I said, there are challenges, but that's where once you make the commitment to do something, once you make the commitment to yourself, then you can stop and say, okay, this is what I need to do. This is the game plan that I have. And for me, it was making small attainable steps. It was making small attainable goals, and not setting myself up for failure. The good thing is that I knew how to be successful in losing the weight because I did it before. Now I just had to do things a little differently. And sometimes when we have to make changes and we're not comfortable, or we're fearful, or we don't have enough knowledge, it's good for us to be able to go to a resource that can help us, or go to a person, or be able to ask for the help that we need, because sometimes it's not something that we can do in and of our own ability. And I say that because I see my beautiful friend and coach on the line. I see her down there. Hey, Ann. And, she has been instrumental in helping me with, this little bit of my journey. And so, I want to have her hop in and talk a little bit about her personal journey and some things that she's been doing with regards to wellness. And as I said before, it's not just about your physical, it's about your mental and your spiritual as well. And I know that those two things have also been instrumental in her success and her being able to live the type of lifestyle that she's seeking to live. So, and if you can make a request to join me, we'll see if you can join. I'm not sure how to do it, but I believe there is a way that you can request to be on with me, and we'll see if we can get you on just to talk a little bit about what your experience has been in your wellness journey. Okay, we'll see if we can do it. I'm not sure. Oh, I think she's saying that she may not be able to join me. Let me see if I can pin her. Let's see if that worked. No, I don't see her. I don't know how to get her. I don't know how to get her to join me. Oh, that's so sad. But, Anne, if you can even tell me in the chat a little bit about your wellness experience. I know it may be too much to type, but, or hey, I got one better. Since we're living in this now and in this technology, let me see if I can give you a call and maybe we can get you in on audio. How about that? Let's see if we can do that. If I can't get her on that way, we'll try to see if we can get her on via speaker. Okay, just give me a quick minute. Hey, we improvise around here. You are here. You are live. We've got you on. Hi, Anne.
Hi, Miss Kim.
Hopefully you all can hear her. If there are any who are in the chat box who are on this live with me, let me know if you can hear Miss Anne, because I wasn't able to get her on physically to see her, but we got her on here. We make lemonade out of this lemon. So, yeah, if they can hear you. Thank you so much for joining me, Anne.
It's one of the things I really appreciate about you is you know how to make lemonade.
The good stuff. Sugar-free this time. Sugar-free. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about your wellness journey. Where that started, or how long ago that started for you.
Oh, goodness. It's funny because I have always struggled with my wellness. And I think just to preface that, by wellness, I'm talking mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, because I really believe they're all tied together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you can't, you can focus on one, but you'll just be out of balance. I really believe that they all carry the same weight, but you know me, Kim, I'm very visual, and I see them kind of lined up in order. They're sort of a priority, because we really are spiritual beings above all else, because our spirits live in eternity. And so when we talk about being spirit-led, it's because that is the best vantage point for our lives. And when our souls, our minds and our emotions try to take over and hijack the driver's seat,
That's right.
so to speak, we get out of whack. And so the soul is very important, because the soul is really our ability to think and our ability to feel emotions, and we are connected with people through our thoughts and through our emotions in terms of how we communicate and how we interact relationally. I always think of our bodies and our souls as being the distribution centers for what our spirits are kind of releasing, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so if our spirits are living in a place of joy and peace and wisdom, and our soul is in line behind that, then we can walk in that place of joy. And you know me, Kim, joy is my greatest asset.
That's right.
So I feel like even though we are triune beings and we have these three parts that all interact very importantly together, there is sort of a priority behind them. So the way that I take care of myself, first and foremost, I will get up way before sunrise to have my power hour in the morning. And even if the hour isn't a full hour, I have to have that time in the morning just to get my spirit centered, to get my thoughts and my emotions in line with what I anticipate the day is going to encounter. But also, I like to live from a place of surrender to God. I can surrender to Him because I trust Him. And so that kind of keeps me in a place of humility. So then once I've kind of got myself going there, I really believe that every day it's important to do something that mentally challenges me.
Yes.
And I am in the Strengths Finder scale. I don't know if you know this about me. I am a learner. It's one of my core strengths. And it's easy for me to take a deep dive into something that I'm learning. And then I can just kind of get carried away and be like, oh, yes, we're going to go do this. So I've learned over the years to, when I'm learning something new and it's really exciting me, to bounce those ideas off of my husband and one of my closest friends, because I know they'll tell me the truth.
That's right.
They keep me tethered. And I really believe that we need those people. We need 2 or 3 of those people in our lives that are going to keep us tethered.
Absolutely.
Because it may be a really great idea, but it might not be the right time.
Right.
Or it may be the right time for a really good idea, but it might not be the right thing. And so when we have these people who aren't just going to tickle our ears, tell us what they think we want to hear,
right,
but people who are really going to challenge us with the strategic impact of whatever idea is coming out of my mouth at the moment. So that's challenging myself. I love to learn, and so I usually am finding something that I can dig into, even if it's just a blog about a book. I don't necessarily need to read the whole book, but something that's going to stimulate my mind. And then I have a trick, and I think you know this. Physically, it's important for me to stay grounded, because while I do like to exercise, I don't love it.
Right.
And while I'm taking my deep dive into learning new things, I can find myself sitting for 8 or 9 hours and I won't get up, and do some healthy movement. So I set my alarm. I have an alarm that goes off on my phone. It's one of the best things I've done for myself physically. At 9:15 in the morning, the alarm says, set your healthy timer. And so my timer goes off every 60 minutes, once an hour. The timer goes off, and for 60 seconds, every 60 minutes, I get up and I move. So I may focus for 1 minute on my arms. I might grab my weights and just do some arm exercises. I may do squats, and I may do planks, or I may work on my abs. But I will get up every 60 minutes, once an hour, and move for 60 seconds. Now, there's a reason that's important to me, because if it's more than a minute, it's going to take me 10 minutes to refocus back on my work.
Okay. Makes sense.
You know?
Yeah.
So I want to move, but I don't want to go get all distracted and have, and lose my place in whatever I'm writing or, creating or something.
Right.
So I do it for 60 seconds every 60 minutes, and that is good if I remember to reset the alarm.
Right. That's key. But I mean, I love that you're systematic about the things that you're doing and how you're incorporating, and like you said, how things line up for you. It is a matter of time management is huge. It's a huge part of us being able to make sure that we're getting the things accomplished that we need to get accomplished, and not, like you said, being so overzealous in one area that we're neglecting another. So, I don't always use the word balance, because sometimes it's not an up or down kind of thing. It's more of, I like to say harmony, because it looks more like this. It looks more like a wave than it does an actual up and down kind of situation. It's us saying that, okay, what can we do to create this beautiful harmony in our life so that every aspect of it gets touched during the course of the day? And I think that that's important. Like you said, I get up, I have my time of worship, I have my time of study, and some of those may be audio, so I can do them while I'm commuting in the morning. I have the time set aside where I can get on my recumbent bike and do my workout. That was one of the things that I had to change when I moved away from using the treadmill. And so those are things that I had to adjust to and say, okay, what are some things I can do? How can I create this new harmony in this new space that I'm in, so that way, I don't derail myself? Because that's what happened. I think we self-sabotage ourselves when we try to do too much, or we try to set the goals so high that they're not attainable, or if we don't take small steps, then what winds up happening is we say, oh my goodness, I failed. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. If I say I wanted to drink, a gallon of water every day for a week, and say I only do it one day and the next day I don't do it, then I feel like, I failed. I can't do it. Never mind. Instead of taking it one step at a time. So even in the process of wellness, being able to designate some time so that we're creating a touch point for each one of those aspects of what we're doing, I think that helps in getting us to a space of wellness. So I think that's a wonderful, a wonderful plan that you have there. And then you're sprinkling in some fun, and I love that about you, is that, there's always something wonderful going on, where you're feeding your spirit, you're feeding your mind, you're doing things that bring you joy, like you said, and that's something that's so important in your wellness journey, that is not just about checking off things on a box and say, okay, I did this, and that. Did it bring you joy? Did it send those endorphins into your body? Did it make you smile? And that's important, because so many of us are stressed. It shouldn't be that your wellness journey be riddled with stress about your wellness journey. It's important to make sure that you're doing things that are going to like you said, feed your mind and your spirit, but that are going to bring you joy, and that are going to bring you some level of peace, because that's how we cope, So I think that's important.
It was just like you shared. If we don't plan, then nothing is going to happen. But and if we don't enjoy what we're doing, we can't sustain it.
that's what happens when weight loss and when all these things become a chore, then it's too much. Then we don't want to do it anymore, you know.
Right.
And so if you're not creating that space of you know, of joy and of peace, then just like you said, it's not sustainable. You're going to go back to doing things that make you happy, and a lot of those things sometimes are not the healthiest for us, you know. And then we're stressed because we couldn't fulfill the goals that we set before, and so then it becomes this vacuum, and then we're stuck in that vacuum, and we can't seem to find our way out of it. And so, you know, it's important for us to create that balance, and it's a lot about, or that harmony, so to speak, so that way we know that whatever it is that we're doing it, you know, for our best good. We're doing it, you know, to create a peaceful existence for us, and that's what we need as we go through the challenges that are still ahead of us. You know, we're not out of the woods with this pandemic, and until we start, you know, navigating in a better space and taking better care of ourselves, you know, we're going to fall victim, and we don't need to do that. So I know that, you know, it's getting a little late, but I am so glad that you took time and to you know, take the little alternate route here and get a chance to chat with me via phone. I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you sharing your words of wisdom, because, you know, that's going to help somebody to be able to start their wellness journey and to give them some things to think about. So I appreciate you taking time to do this. I love you.
Love you too, my friend.
And I appreciate it.
We
will talk soon. You too, love. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and that was my friend Ann Say. She is awesome. She has been a coach for me in part of my wellness journey, and I am so excited about all of the wonderful gems that she has shared. And you know, like I said, it's important for us just to remember that our journey is not just about the physical, it's about the mental and the spiritual. So, you know, I'd love to hear some of the things that you all are doing to actually, you know, navigate in this space. What are some things that you're doing in this now? You know, before we do that, I just wanted to send some information out to let you guys know about tonight's show, and again, how you can keep up with a lot of our other How Now broadcasts. You can go to my website at www.hownowpodcast.com. I've put my link tree in the comments below, so that way you can find me on all of my platforms, and hopefully you'll have a chance to go to the How Now Podcast YouTube channel and check out some of my wellness journey. And make sure that you subscribe, that you like, that you share. And I'll be excited to hear any comments and you know, little words of wisdom that you all have as we live in this now. So to continue with our conversation on wellness, you know, I talked a little bit about my journey. I talked about, you know, losing 25 pounds. It's and the challenges that I've had. Like I said, a lot of my challenges is because I travel a lot, and so, you know, having to make sure that I prep my meals, that I bring the things that I need to make sure that I always have something to eat, so that way I'm eating within a certain time frame and I'm keeping my metabolism going. Those things are important. It's also important that you know, I make sure that I you know, am not in a space where I don't have what I need. So it does require a lot of planning on my behalf. I have to plan my meals. I have to think about the, you know, the caloric count. Those things are important as well. So I you know, it can be a little sticky when you're traveling, you know, but it's about choices as well. And that's been what I've learned in these 7 weeks that I've been on this portion of my wellness journey. I have had to, make sure that I'm making good choices. I've had to eat in restaurants. What are things that I can and cannot have? What is going to be beneficial? Can I get grilled? What are some choices? And nowadays, with people who are vegan, people who have gluten issues, and all kinds of things, there are so many different options that people have nowadays that they didn't have years ago. So there are definitely options and choices, and people are willing to, prepare food in a certain way if you're just willing to ask. And so, I've been able to make some choices there that have been beneficial. So it's not like you have to give up your life. It's not like you have to change. And as Ann and I were saying, it's about doing things that are going to be sustainable. That's the important part of your wellness journey in any aspect. Is it something that's going to be sustainable, or is it something that's a chore? If it's something that you cannot stand to do and you're forcing yourself to do it, how long do you think you're going to be able to sustain that? How long are you going to be able to do that before you say, you know what, I'm tired of doing this. I'm going to go back to doing what I used to do because I enjoyed that. The one thing that I think that I've learned in this physical portion of my wellness journey is that food is fuel. It's what helps me to be able to garner the energy that I need to do the activities that I want to do during the course of the day. So that's why it's important for me to eat certain proteins and eat certain greens and eat certain things that are going to help to fuel my body. So when I look at it that way and I don't look at food as a reward, then it changes my mindset. And that's what we do when we talk about food and we talk about the things that it's always around a celebration. Food is always, we use it for comfort when we're sad. We use it for celebration when we're happy. We use food to celebrate different occasions, and not really look at it for the fuel that it's designed to be, And so I had to start changing my mindset there. What are some other ways that I can reward myself for small accomplishments or for small things that happen without becoming a shopaholic or not, becoming wasteful? But, it's a cheap and easy fix when you talk about food and you talk about what, how we use it as a reward. And it's important for us to say, okay, this is what fuels me. What are some other things that I can do? What are some other things that I enjoy? And that's where the mental aspect of your wellness journey comes in too. What are some things that bring you joy? What are some things that you're interested in? Anne said that she loves to learn. And so if there are things that you don't know about, or that you're excited about, or that you want to learn about, or that you want to try, these are your opportunities to try those things, to research those things, and see if that's something that you can put into that harmony of your life. How can you squeeze those things in? Because of course we know that self-care is something that's so important in our wellness journey. How are we pouring back into ourselves? What are we doing to keep ourselves replenished? Not just to fill our cup, but to fill our cup to the place of overflow. Because we never want to pour from an empty cup. We never want to give everyone everything that we have and leave nothing for ourselves. So it's important that we make sure that we're filling ourselves. What are we doing to bring us joy? What are we doing to put a smile on our face? And a lot of that comes from being present, from being in the now. Hence the name of my show, How Now? How are we living in this now? How are we existing in this present space? Are we so busy running the rat race that we don't stop long enough to smell the roses and to see what's going on around us and to enjoy what's around us? And that brings me to, the part of our wellness journey where we talk about things that are coming into our ear gates and our eye gate. All of these shows and movies and TikToks and lives and all of these things that can encompass a lot of our time. Just as we do with our food, those things should be in moderation as well. There are a lot of people who, when they were stuck in their homes during this pandemic, became just couch potatoes, and they sat on their sofas, and they indulged in a lot of shows and watched a lot of things. And think about how many hours you spend on social media and on television watching news and things like that. All of those things should be set in moderation as well. And that's something that we don't always do, but it's necessary. It's necessary for us to sometimes take a media fast and see what other things can be done in the time frame that we spend just spending time on social media or watching television and things like that. Things should be done in moderation, so that way, we're enjoying a few things, but we're not consuming so much of our time that we don't create that harmony that we need to be able, again, like Ann and I were saying earlier, to touch on each one of those areas in our life. And when I say touch point, touching on not just the physical things, moving our bodies, getting out and taking a little quick walk, getting up and stretching and doing all of these things. We have the technology. Everybody has Apple Watches and other types of devices, Wise watches and things that tell you, hey, time to get up and stretch. Do we just press the button and keep going on with our activities, or do we actually stop and stretch and move and get our bodies in motion so that we're not stiff? It's taking the time to do those things, taking the time to set aside, just like Ann said, and like I do myself in the morning, to have a time where I pray, or I meditate, or I do a Bible study, or I read. Sometimes, we have to set aside time to say, okay, I need to do something different. Step away from what you're doing. When you go on your lunch break, instead of sitting there flipping through social media, sometimes just sit there and actually chew your food and enjoy it and see what it tastes like, instead of just woofing it down. You want to be able to enjoy your food. You want to take time to do something different, to make the transition into something different, so that way you're giving your body and your mind and your spirit the things that they need. All parts of our bodies need to be fed. And it's important for us to feed them and not to starve certain areas in our bodies. And that's what we tend to do. We neglect certain parts and favor others. And then we wonder why there's that domino effect. Why don't I feel well? Why do I feel sick? Why does my tummy hurt? Well, what were you doing? Did you take time to digest your food, or were you woofing it down? Is there something that you're not familiar with that's causing you stress? Did you take time to research it? Did you take time to learn something? And that's important to do, because when we are learning and we're growing, we're taking stressors away from us. And that's what's important. Our spiritual aspect, being able to meditate, being able to woosah, being able to just take a moment to breathe and center ourselves, is something that's important to our wellness journey, because that's going to help us to be able to stop and say, okay, I need to reset. I need to refocus. I need to recenter myself. I need to bring myself back to center so that I can do the things that are necessary for me to do. And so everything is about that harmony. Everything is about creating that wonderful wave of touching each part of our wellness, every part of our being. And that should be done on a daily basis. And so if we take the time to eat properly, to exercise our mind, because our mind is a muscle as well. It needs to be exercised, and not just by social media and all kinds of reality TV and things of that nature. We also need to feed our mind with things that are useful. What are things that you're learning? What are some things that you learn? You learn from your womb to your tomb. Every day there's something that we learn that we didn't know before. And at times the technology can make us lazy, because how often do we, ask somebody, well, hey, I wonder what the weather is today. Some people have it right there on their phone. All they have to do is just press the button and they'll know what the weather is. And they won't be stressed when they find out that it was pouring down rain and they had no umbrella. It's things like that, little simple things. What are we doing to make sure that we know what's going on in the world around us, so that we're not, putting ourselves in a space of being socially unaware. We can stop and look, at some a little bit of news just so that we're aware of what's going on, but not that we sit there and we harp on it all day and create stressors for ourselves. We don't want to always put ourselves in a space of stress, and we can do that if we, focus on one aspect of our wellness and neglect the others. So take time to, not only take care of your body, and move your body and fuel your body. Take also the time to exercise your mind, learn something new. Go on Google and find out something about something that's been of interest that has been an interest of yours for a while. Take the time to go and research it, see what it's about, and then stop and say, okay, this is something new. This is what I've learned. Now I'm going to do something with what I've learned. It's not just a matter of doing it. Learn from it and see how it can benefit you. Okay. Those are things that are important in that wellness journey. And then if you are a person, whether you are a religious or a spiritual person, what are you doing to feed that aspect of your life as well? Okay, what are you doing there? Are you studying? Are you learning more about spirituality? Are you learning more about religion? Are you participating in activities that are going to help to expand you in that area? Or are you just sitting there every Sunday, going to church and not actively participating, or just, the scriptures say, we are not just to be hearers of the word, we are to be doers of the word. So what are some things that you are doing? What are some things that you are doing to connect with Source, to connect with God, to connect with Almighty Allah, whatever you call that entity? Okay, what are you doing there? How are you expanding and growing in that space? It's important for us to study. It's important for us to learn, because that's how we grow. That's how we nourish ourselves. Everything is a form of fuel. It's fueling our mind. It's fueling our heart. These are all important muscles in our body, and each one needs to be exercised. That heart muscle needs to be exercised. That brain needs to be exercised. The different aspects of our bodies need to be exercised, so that way we're functioning at an optimal level. That's what we're trying to do. We're not just trying to be strong in one area and not in the other. You don't want to be one of those people who looks muscular in the arms and in the body, and you've got these little chicken legs. You want there to be some type of balance. You want to look fit in all areas, and that's how you should think of it in the other areas of your life as well. There's always going to be an area that's going to be weaker than the other. How can you go about making that area strong? So those are the things that we want to touch on when we talk about overall wellness. We want to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do to bring optimal health to us, so that we're able to tackle any situation. And every situation is not one that you have to strong arm or stronghold. Some of those are going to require you to think. Some of them are going to require you to pray. So there are different ways that we deal with different aspects of our life, and we want all of those muscles to be exercised, so that way we can be that whole person that we're required to be for the people who need us. But always remembering that we need to focus on us first. Again, so that we're operating from a place of overflow. So that way when we give to others, we're still having something left for us. That's important. That is key. And so, as I continue my wellness journey, I'm focusing in all of those areas. Like I said, I'm happy that I've lost the 25 pounds, and I've still got, several more to go before I reach my goal. But I know that it's also important that I take time and do a little self-care, that I'm taking care of myself mentally, that I'm spending time with my family and vacationing and doing things that bring me joy. Because again, if any of these things that you're doing are going to bring you strife or are going to feel like a stressor, you're not going to continue to do them. So you're setting yourself up. If you're going to do something, you say, oh, well, I'm going to continue to do it. If you're setting up to do something, make sure that it's something that you enjoy and it's something that is sustainable. Because if it is not sustainable, you will not continue to do it. You'll do it for a short period of time, and then you'll go right back to doing the old things that you were doing. So make sure that the choices that you're making are sustainable. Think about things that you're doing and the long-term effects of those things that you're doing. If you sit there and you spend all of your time on social media or several hours, you can't get those hours back. Just like if you eat those little things, those little snacks or those desserts, and you gain the weight, it's going to be harder for you to work on getting that weight off. You know, everything has a consequence, and so we want to make sure that when we're talking about setting up our wellness journey and accomplishing goals, that we're doing things that are going to be sustainable. Sustainability is everything. It's everything, because if we don't do that, we're going to put ourselves in a self-sabotaging position. So work on that. Work on every aspect of your wellness. Work on your body. Work on your mind. Work on your spirit. And again, I love to thank Ann for being here and for sharing her information. I see a few more of my friends there. Hey, Stanley. Hey, Tavia. I miss you guys. Good seeing you. Thanks for joining me. And again, if you want to know a little bit more about my wellness journey and the things that I am doing in this now, please go to my website, www.hownowpodcast.com, and also go to my YouTube channel. I have it in the comment section. You can go and subscribe. Be sure to follow, like, and share, and make sure you check out our show. Okay, and that will do it for this week of the How Now podcast. Again, live here on Facebook. Thank you all for joining me. I hope that you've taken a few nuggets away, and we look forward to seeing you on our next broadcast. And until I see you all the next time, I say peace.